Like many underperforming home service businesses, you're likely spending thousands of dollars a year on your Google Ads and have no idea if it's working at all. Or worse, you're unknowingly losing money because you're optimizing for the wrong KPIs. Your process probably looks something like this. Hey, how are the Google Ads working? Great, we got 30 leads and spent $3,000. Awesome, so it's working, right? Wrong. A lower cost per lead does not mean that you are making more money. Now let me repeat myself. A lower cost per lead does not mean that you are making more money from Google Ads. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to optimize and how to make more money than ever from your Google Ads. So finally, your process can look something like this. How are the Google Ads doing? Well, this month we spent $3,000. We got 30 leads. Out of those 30, 20 booked into our schedule and 10 actually made a purchase. Out of those 10, we made about $35,000. It's just that easy. By the way, my name is Chevy and I run a digital marketing agency focused on the home service space. And after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on Google Ads, these are some of the best tips that I know to make more money and make your ads more profitable. So let's jump right into it. Before you can optimize your Google Ads account, you need to know the formula to profitable ads. By clearly having trackable KPIs at every step of the formula, you can work backwards to find bottlenecks across the customer journey and find what's causing your ads to suck in the first place. Without this formula, you're stuck in scenario 1 where you're just optimizing for a lower cost per lead. Now, most companies just look at the cost of marketing, which is the total cost of ads divided by the revenue. But this doesn't tell the full story. It doesn't tell us how we can get better and how we can make more. All it tells us is the final result. So let's start with the first part of the formula, which is cost per lead. Now, I didn't say cost per lead wasn't important. I just said it wasn't the only factor in determining the performance of your account. So how do we improve our cost per lead? The only way we can do this is by tracking all lead sources. Things like phone calls, website forms, text messages, basically any way someone can contact your business, we need to track it. Use a tool like CallRail or even ServiceTitan has certain features like this built in. I have a whole other video on that linked below. Once we're tracking our leads, the next step is to optimize our keywords and our campaigns. So imagine this, you're out fishing and you're trying to catch as many fish as possible. You're standing there, you got your fishing rod in the water and you're waiting to get a bite. So what do? Do you go out and buy 10 more fishing rods and stick them all in the water even though you're not getting any bites? No. You try to find better bait that can actually catch the fish, a bait that's going to get the bite. Each one of your keywords is like bait in the water. Low quality keywords is like using the wrong bait. But instead of wasting your day all day not catching fish, you're wasting your money on clicks that are irrelevant for people that are not going to make a purchase. So this is why we choose keywords that have high intent. These are types of keywords that show that a customer is ready to make a purchase. These are things like location modifiers, near me modifiers, or searches that include the service itself in the search term, such as like furnace repair services or AC repair services. We choose keywords with high intent, just like we would choose the bait that's likely to catch the fish in that area. Even though you select good keywords for your Google Ads campaign, you want to live in your search terms report. I recommend jumping in there every week at a minimum, but even every other day if you can, especially if you're running campaigns with larger budgets. The search terms report shows all of the keywords that you're matching to, because even though you choose a keyword like furnace repair near me or roofers near me or roofing companies, Google is out to make money and they're going to match those keywords to sometimes irrelevant keywords or competitors' brands. You want to make sure that you're removing those, usually with a phrase match type negative keyword, from your campaign so that you're not wasting your money on clicks for people that aren't ready to buy or aren't even looking for you in the first place. Definitely spend a lot of time here. If there's one tip I can recommend, it's staying inside of your search terms report and building out that big negative keyword list. Better keywords equals better quality leads, equals better results, and a lower cost per lead. If you want some more information on keyword research, I have another video linked below for that. Another way to optimize your cost per lead is simply your campaign type and your campaign structure. Personally, I choose a campaign objective like target CPA because this is focused around a goal target, which is a target cost per lead. Once you have enough conversions in your account, you can get that goal and you can get your leads to stay within a certain number. and you can kind of choose that at an ad group level. I like that kind of control in the account. If you're using a campaign objective like maximize clicks or maximize conversions, keep in mind that Google's not focused on the quality of the lead that you're getting. They're instead focusing on getting as many clicks as possible, which means that sometimes you might focus on getting clicks that are cheaper and in nature are just not as good quality. So be wary with those types of campaigns. I usually recommend a target CPA campaign if you can. It gives you a lot more control. As for your campaign structure, choose a campaign per service so that if you're a roofing company and you're doing roofing replacement, you can have that as a campaign and you can have the variations of that service in different ad groups. If you're a furnace company and you're offering a furnace repair, you can put furnace repair into its own campaign and the different ways someone can search for a furnace repair, such as furnace blowing cold air or whatever that is. Start small, 1 campaign, 3 ad groups, and work your way up. Don't overwhelm your account. These are some quick, easy tips that you can do to lower your cost per lead. Okay, so we're done with part 1 of the formula and we're jumping into part 2. And this is honestly the thing that is overlooked by every single company. And the big companies that do it well, the $10 million, $20 million, $30 million a year companies, they focus on this metric and they analyze it, they check it all the time. So please do not skip this step if you really care about the result of your account. And you're gonna know if this metric sucks in your business if you've ever fallen into the finger pointing trap. That trap looks something like this. Hey agency, we spent $5,000 this month on our Google ads. Why are we not seeing any results? We haven't gotten any sales. Your lead quality sucks. I don't know, we're generating great results. Our lead costs are down. Your sales team needs to sell better. You need to fix it. Well, technically both here are correct because neither are focusing on the key element, which is our book rate. It is the tell-all for our performance, and improving this number can absolutely change everything. Book rate tells us 2 major things, which is, does our lead quality suck? Does the marketing agency need to improve the leads? Do they need to add more negative keywords and continue to improve the account structure? Or do our CSRs suck? Are we answering the phones? Are these phone calls going to voicemail? Are we able to actually take these quality leads and book them into our schedule? Are we booked out so far in advance that we're not actually able to book that customer in? Is our cost too high to show up at the door? Is that deterring people from booking into the schedule? All of these factors are answered by listening to these calls. Now, remember how I said a lower cost per lead doesn't necessarily mean better performance? Well, that's because these 2 factors, our cost per lead and our book rate, work in tandem together. So let's imagine a scenario. We focus on a lower cost per lead, but in doing so, we actually lower our book rate because the quality of the leads has gone down. Our CSRs can't book in leads that are looking for other companies or looking for services that we don't provide. And this brings us to the last part of the formula, which is our cost per sold job or our cost per acquisition. A lower cost per lead lowers our book rate and ultimately increases the actual cost per sold job, meaning how much are we paying to acquire a paying customer? A higher number here is not good. Okay, let's imagine another scenario here. We pay a little bit more for our cost per lead, but in doing so, we actually increase our book rate because we're getting in front of customers who are ready to make a purchase now. We've removed those negative keywords for the competition and for those low quality informational searches, and we've increased the likelihood that that person is actually going to book into our schedule. This ultimately lowers down our cost per sold job. This is good. If you've never tracked your book rate, you probably would have thought scenario 1 here was good, the lower cost per lead. But obviously we're seeing how these 2 are closely related to each other. But don't worry, if you haven't tracked book rate in the past, I'm going to give you a couple quick tips right now. First of all, remember how we said CallRail is a really great tool? That's because we can export the list of calls and we can listen to them. Some CRMs like ServiceTitan also have these features built in, but not every home service CRM has these types of tools. So it is a bit manual, but it definitely pays off. What I recommend doing is if you're using CallRail or any kind of call tracking tool, export the list of calls that you have from them, toss it into a CSV or Google Sheet, and add a few columns for whether that person booked. If they didn't book, why didn't they book? These are called call reasons why that customer didn't book in. Both the business and the agency, or if you're doing it both yourself, should be looking at this constantly. I would recommend doing this weekly if you can, monthly at the max. By monitoring it this way, although manual, you can start to see where the bottleneck is in the business. Is the call quality lead, or is it the CSR? Or maybe potentially these calls are going to a voicemail and they're not even talking to somebody at all. A lot can be discovered by listening to your calls. So you're probably wondering, what is part 3 of this formula? There's 3 parts here. Well, the third part is pretty self-explanatory. It is your sales rate. This is basically the percentage of leads that your team closes when they go out to make an appointment. Now, this is going to depend on the service. If you're doing a service call where you are making money to go out, such as a furnace repair, or if you're a locksmith, you make money to show up at the door or at the customer's house. Those numbers are probably going to be 70, 80, 90%, because once you're there, they're going to pay for your service. They're not going to waste your time. But when it comes to other services like replacements, such as someone getting a quote for a roof or a furnace when they don't need one right now, you might see a close rate closer to 30 to 40%. Now, this video isn't about sales, but ultimately your sales team determines how much revenue you're going to make and ultimately determines how profitable your Google ads are at the end. So that's why I wanted to include that in here as well. So now you have the magic profitability formula. It determines your cost per sold job. You can now figure out ways to increase the revenue and decrease the cost of marketing and ultimately get a better return for your money. If you have questions about your home service, PPC or SEO, or you just have a question for me, toss it in the comments below and I try to answer every one that I see. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.